record this. Thank you very much, personal assistant. So let's jump in here. We have actually a bunch of questions that have also come in. So let's just discuss a little bit on today's topic. Today's topic is, I believe it's, we're talking about music publishing and royalties. Very cool. Two of my favorite things, especially the royalties part. That's always the best part of music publishing, actually, is the royalties. So what's really cool is excited that we're all here. We can have actually a very open sort of format dialogue here. We don't have to be sort of super official. We can just kind of talk, and you can ask questions, and we can kind of jump into this if that's cool with everybody. So, does that work for everyone?
Yep.
Awesome, fantastic. I like your shirt, Mark.
Thank you very much.
It feels suddenly it
Kind of
feels
fits in
very.
where you live.
It what?
It kind of fits in for where you live.
Yeah, that's right. I'm saying if we wanted to, it's giving me the White Lotus feels. Did you guys watch White Lotus on HBO? Did you watch that yet?
Not yet.
Oh yeah, you should watch it. It's great. Anyway, let's not get sidetracked, shall we? We're here. Welcome. My name is Justin Gray. I am the chairman and the founder of MDIIO, MDIIO. We have an awesome partnership here with Sound Girls, and we're very excited to about this partnership, and we're very excited to help create some and generate some revenue for everybody that's here. So let's talk about why we're here today. We're talking about music publishing and royalties. I'll give you a bit of history if you guys don't know who I am. I am a songwriter and a record producer. I have been doing this since 1995, back in the previous millennium. Anyway, as a songwriter and producer, I've worked with some pretty cool artists over the years. People like most recently, I had a #1 with Avril Lavigne. People like John Legend. People like Luis Fonsi. I regularly collaborate with incredible superstar hit songwriters all the time. Notably, I have a song coming out with Bonnie McKee on September 10th that we wrote called Resurrection. That's part of a project I do called Lovecraft. Bonnie famously wrote songs like Teenage Dream for Katy Perry, Wide Awake, Roar, a bunch of others. So yeah, I'm definitely I'm one of you. I'm in the scene. I'm working on a daily basis. I do a lot of music for film and television as well. In fact, if you guys are Halloween heads, I'm not particularly a Halloween head, but I am part of a project called Lovecraft. Right, you're a Halloween head. Okay, so if you've watched the 31 Nights of Halloween Freeform, if you ever watch Freeform, I produced the version of spooky scary skeletons that they're using for the next 60 days. So
cool.
There you go. So you'll love that project. It's called Lovecraft, LVCRFT. So look it up. It's all spooky, dark Halloween music.
As soon as I heard Lovecraft, I assued had spooky vibes.
Right.
So I was into it already.
Check it out. Check us out on Spotify. Anyway, and that's part of a collective of some pretty amazing songwriters, including people like, as I mentioned, Bonnie, Evan Bogart, who wrote Halo for Beyonce, Sarah Hudson, who's wrote Dark Horse for Katy Perry, people like Jay Hart, MNDR, who's a really cool indie sort of pop artist who's done a lot of work so that we're all part of this collective called Lovecraft. Anyway, point being, I do a lot of work for film and TV. I'm very involved in licensing, understanding music publishing, and understanding royalties. So we'll just have a very casual conversation, and we'll kind of dig into it a little bit here. So if there's stuff that you already know, forgive me. I'm going to start at the beginning, and I'll try and just go quickly over the kind of incidental stuff. But basically, we're going to talk about what a publisher does, what a publishing deal is, and whether or not really you need one. That's I think those are three major topics that we're going to discuss here. And we can again, like I said, if you have questions, please pop them into the chat. Some people actually sent questions ahead of time, which is great. So we will be hitting those as well. I see Mark actually sent one ahead of time, so we'll dig into that. But let's talk about what music publishing is. Let's just talk there, just very generally speaking. Music publishing is basically the ownership of the actual copyright of the lyrics and the music. It is not the same thing as the recording. We're going to talk about those two different streams, right? So music publishing is literally the lyrics and the melody. In fact, the music actually isn't technically a component of music publishing, which is kind of wild, but it is true. How music publishers work typically in the past is there's something called a mechanical royalty, right? Now it's also referred to as, let's say, streaming revenue. So basically, every time someone accesses, plays your song, downloads your song, we're going to go way back, playback, buys a CD, which by the way, people still do, or buy vinyl, right? There's something called a mechanical royalty. What that mechanical royalty is literally a 100-year-old term from when the mechanical press used to press the vinyl. So rather than collecting revenue every time a record was sold, record companies would say, okay, we're going to press that. That's a royalty. That's a royalty. That's a royalty. And they would say, well, we pressed 1,000 bits of vinyl. That was the mechanical royalty, the actual machine making the vinyl. That term has kind of now been used over the course of 100 years or whatever it's been, as just a catch-all general term for every time a song is downloaded, every time a song is streamed. That's really considered the mechanical royalty. Then there are things like the performance royalties, right? So if you guys are not signed up to a PRO, which is a performance rights organization, like, for example, ASCAP, CSAC, BMI in the US, SOCAN if you're Canadian. By the way, you don't even need to be Canadian to sign up to SOCAN. It's an excellent PRO globally. If you're in other parts of the world, every country and territory has their own performance rights organizations. They all work with each other. So in other words, for example, GEMA in Germany will collect my royalties, but then they will pay those through to SOCAN or BMI for me, and then BMI will then pay me. So rather than me collecting directly or you collecting directly from SACEM in France, you don't have to worry about that. If you are just registered with your PRO and you have some performance in France or any part of the world, though that territory's PRO will collect on your behalf. So that's just something to consider. If you're not signed to a PRO, please make sure that you do get signed up to a PRO. If you, even if you've released one thing, right, there are royalties that are being generated and earned for you. They may not be a ton, but they are there, and you want to start that process. Most notably, you want to get into the habit of actually creating that business mindset in how you approach your professional songwriting or music or publishing career. Very, very important. There's other royalties that are available to you as well. There are things like neighboring rights, which is if you are a performer, you want to make sure that you are collecting your royalties that you're earning on, let's say, your voice, or if you're playing on a song, that is something that you want to also make sure that you're registered with. So there's things like Sound Exchange, very, very important. Get yourself signed up at Sound Exchange. It's pretty easy stuff. I know we're talking about publishing and royalties, but it's just sort of like an ancillary royalty on the side. So be aware of that. If you are a singer or you're an actor, make sure that you're signed up to SAG, because there are royalties there as well. If your voice is performed on a song that gets into a film or a television show, there are royalties that you can earn there as well. So a lot of things to consider there. We do work very closely with a very cool company called Mezzo Agency based in Atlanta. This woman named Tammy Luttrell, who's been a part of our conversations. She can help you guys get that set up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put my email address in the chat here. If you guys are interested, I know that Tammy graciously gives away 30-minute one-on-ones to see if there's a good working opportunity there for you guys. Feel free to reach out to her. Happily, I'll connect you. There's my email. So let's talk about publishing in general. So you can do a lot of work, whether you're part of a formal publishing company or not. What a lot of people don't actually realize is you are your own publisher. You are already your own publisher. You publish your own music. So even if you're releasing stuff on Bandcamp or SoundCloud or YouTube or Spotify on your own, you are your own publisher. Now, you're not your own administrator, meaning it's very hard to collect for yourself, but there are companies that can do that for you. One of the ones that we use is, oh my gosh, my mind has just completely wandered off on me here.
Song Trust.
Song Trust, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate that. So, just register at Song Trust. There's other companies called like Centric that can do this as well, that can do this kind of like 28-day cycle, one-off, smaller batch music publishing collection. So, again, this is all part of your business. Control your business. When you release music, make sure that your stuff is really, really well organized. You guys are here because of our MDIIO connection. It's a big part of what we do at MDIIO, is helping you track your splits, helping you track all your audio, helping you embed all of your metadata, so that when you actually start generating revenue, that's all there. What's also super important is that you need to understand that, for example, I'm seeing Rye Daisies. Let's say I rewrite a song together, but I say, well, it's R-Y-E. I don't know. I mess it up and I miswrite her name as a collaborator on the song. Guess what? We don't get paid. Let's say we do a song together, and I don't know. I have your wrong IPI number, right? And I put in a 1 instead of a 2. Guess what? We don't get paid. Let's say we write a song together called the Coke Zero song. I don't know, and I spell it Coke Zero with the number 0, and you spell it Coke Zero, Z-E-R-O, Z, because I'm Canadian. Guess what? We don't get paid, right? Because we need to make sure that every bit of information is correct and accurate as your songs are getting written. Small side note: if you collaborate, by the way, I highly suggest that you collaborate with people, or if you're a publisher, really encourage your songwriters to collaborate with people, because it takes some of the administrative workload off of your plate, but also it allows other people to help push the songs out. So I'm a huge fan of collaboration. In fact, I'm not sure if I've ever had a song cut by an artist that I've written 100% by myself. I do have a theme song coming out on a Netflix show. So if you have kids about to watch Netflix that are like 4 years old, you'll probably hate my guts. But but otherwise, collaboration is great. But of course, more people in the mix can affect the data and information. But when you use something like MDIIO, you can track it all there. You can tag your collaborators and add them. So we're keeping one central point of data for everything. This is, again, I cannot overstate this. Also, as songs are getting written, register them at your PRO. I know I've kind of talked about it, but don't wait for songs to come out. And real professional collaborators with you will understand that discussing splits of a song is not a weird thing. It does not have to be a weird, strange, bizarre thing. Early in my career, I learned this lesson very early, that I always felt like, well, if there's 2 people in a room, we split the song 50-50. I've personally never changed or wavered from that opinion. Someone might sit in a room and maybe they don't collaborate, or they don't participate as much, or whatever. Maybe I write more on a day. It's still 50-50 if there's 2 people. If there's 3 people, it's thirds, equal thirds. And usually the extra 1/100% goes to whoever the artist is in the room. So for example, if it's 33.33, but then Janie is the artist, she would get 33.34. And just, keep I think it's the most equitable, fair, diplomatic way to talk about splits. Different genres of music have different ways of approaching splits. Hip hop and R&B, it tends to be that the person who makes the beat gets half of the publishing no matter what. And then because technically that is a complete song. So they'll retain half the publishing. They'll give up half of their publishing to maybe an artist or a collaborator, an arter. That was a mix of artist and collaborator. An artist, a collaborator. They'll give, that's usually where they can control 50%. So let's say now you are your own publisher, and you do own your own recordings, your own master recordings. There's a huge advantage for placement for film and TV when you control all of those, all of that admin. We'll talk about that specifically on film and TV. But let's say you're collaborating with other publishers. My phone is blowing up here. Let's say you're collaborating with other publishers. So I've written a song with Mark. Mark is, I'm published by Downtown. Mark is published independently, right? So my publisher Downtown will collect on my behalf, and they'll usually take, well, in my case, I have an administration deal, right? So they'll take 15% of my revenue or income as an admin, as an administrative partner. What that means is, for the term of my agreement with them, which is 3 years, they have the exclusive right to collect on my revenue. That's what an admin partner is. Then there's a co-publishing deal. A co-publishing deal says, well, we are going to collect on whatever you do during this period of time in perpetuity. Usually now there's reversions, 25-year, 25-year reversions, meaning after 25 years, those rights actually revert back to you. But basically, for a pretty extended period of time, they will co-publish all of that revenue, and usually for a bigger percentage. So they might take 35% against your 65%. That would be a co-publishing deal. Or technically, a co-publishing deal would be 50-50 on the publisher's share, not the writer's share. Let's break that up. Every dollar that's earned from a song, right, as we discussed, from either a mechanical or a performance or whatever, is actually split into two sides. It's split into the publisher's share, it's split into the writer's share. The writer's share stays with the writer. So let's just make the math super duper easy. We've earned $1 in publishing revenue. 50 cents of that immediately goes towards the writers. Let's just say for sake of easy math, it's a two-way co-write. 25 cents goes to each songwriter. The other 50 cents is represented by the publisher. Now, as I mentioned before, you are all your own publisher. So assuming. So that means that you would collect also on the publisher's share. So not only do you need to be recognized at your performance rights organization as a songwriter, but also you should create your publishing company. Your publishing is called your publishing designation. In my case, because I have a co-publisher, I have an admin partner. I apologize. I don't have a co-publisher. I did for years. Of my 25 cents, they will collect 15% of that 25 cents, and that goes against my account. So again, let me talk about how recouping a publishing deal works out of royalties. Let's say, using that example, they gave me an advance of $1. We're just going to use that as an example. Of that dollar that I've now earned, half of that is my share of the publisher's share, 25 cents. Of that 25 cents, they collect 15% of that. Let's see, what's that math? 3.75 cents. I think that's right. That was done very quickly. That 3.75 cents, let me rephrase this. The whole amount goes to them. So my 25 cents goes to them, of which they take their 3.75 cents off the top. That leaves me unrecouped now $1 minus 3.75 cents. So it's at 96.25 cents. So that's how a music publisher works. They take their share off the top, they apply the rest against your account, and plus the other 22 cents. So yes, the point is, just because you earn $1 back doesn't mean that you've paid your deal off. So if you're a publisher and you're signing somebody to a co-publishing deal and you're giving them an advance, you are effectively taking your piece out, you're applying the rest or the leftover to their account. So you've given somebody $100, you've made $100. Let's say you have a co-publishing deal. Let's say you have a 50-50 deal. You take your 50, you apply their 50 against their account. They're still unrecouped $50 because their share doesn't pay back their recouped bill. Only the amount, your share does not pay back the recouped amount, the bill. Only their amounts pay back the recouped, the unrecouped amounts. I can simplify that. Of that dollar that gets earned, if you have a 50-50 co-pub, again, you take your 50 cents off the top, $50. Their $50 applies against their $100 unrecouped balance. They still have $50 to recoup. So even though you've earned $100, they're still technically unrecouped $50. That's how it works. That's how music publishing works. It's a good business to be in if you're a music publisher. Philosophically, I think that I support publishing deals. I've been in them since 1997 or 98, 97, I think. And I'm currently in an admin deal, which functions a little bit differently. As I said, On an admin deal, you're giving up about 15% usually, and they just collect all of your money. And same thing, it recoups the same way. So their 15% comes off the top. Your 85% gets applied to your unrecouped balance. There are some questions that are coming in. I know I'm speaking quickly, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to post this so you guys can go back and look at this stuff again. I don't want to try and speak too quickly, but I've been trying to explain music publishing to my mother for 25 years. I'm almost there. I think she almost gets it. I'm kidding. I love my mom. She's great, but she's not a good publisher. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about. Well, we have some questions actually. I'm gonna hit a couple of these questions. Brindle Markle, who's not on this call. In fact, I see Janie's on this call, so we're gonna get to Janie's question at some point too, very very shortly here. But let's go down in order here. Brindle Markle, I'm interested in. It's weird. It's kind of cut off here. Give me a minute. There we go. Oh, that makes much more sense. She says, "I'm interested." I'm assuming Brindle is a female. I don't know. Brindle Markle. "I'm interested in advice on composing for licensing libraries, and if that's a viable, realistic source of income." That is a great question. I have a couple of opinions on the matter. First of all, if you are capable of monetizing your creativity in music in any capacity whatsoever, highly, highly suggest it. 5 out of 5. Go for it. Be aware of the deals that you're doing when you enter into library composing for music libraries. They're not always the best deals in the world. They usually kind of take advantage of songwriters, but if you want to turn it into a livelihood and becomes a viable source of realistic source of income for you. In fact, I'm going to put this question in the chat here. How can I do that? I can't really do that. Maybe I do it like this. There we go. I'm going to put the question in the chat. I guess what I was saying was, sorry, I got sidetracked here. I don't know what is viable for you. You might be okay to survive on $1,000 a month. You might need $20,000 a month. So I can't really speak to that. I have typically music that is composed and licensed through libraries generally have smaller fees associated to them on placements. A lot of times they'll come to libraries to try and clear gratis $50, $100 licenses and just do them in bulk. So it takes a lot of work to maintain that sort of churn that you, I think, are trying to go for. But as I said, I'm fully supportive of trying to help people generate revenue from their skill and talent. There's a lot of, I think, good opportunities out there for songwriters. I wouldn't expect a particularly personal experience, but I will say one of the things that we're imminently launching here is a platform called Hyper Audio. That is basically where your music placed on MDIIO is then now available for licensing to licensees rather. I apologize. And rather than have to give up 50% or up to 75% of your revenue, even sometimes in perpetuity, we only take a small 20% commission. That is a website called Hyper Audio, hyperaudio.com. If you go to wearemdio.com, you can get a pretty good sense of what Hyper Audio is going to be about. No problem, Dagmara. That's interesting. I like that. So again, it's a great opportunity. It's not exclusive. You are not exclusive to us. You can work with anybody that you want. We only, I kind of don't like the term, but it makes a lot of sense. We only eat what we kill. We're only out there to try and help you guys. If we don't get anything, well, we don't get anything. But our goal is to try and create a lot of traffic through Hyper Audio, it would make us incredibly happy to just send, Layla, saying, "Hey, congratulations, your music got licensed. Where would you like us to send your money?" I can't wait till we start having those conversations. Thanks, guys. I'm going to jump into the next question here, the next question is, how do musicians collect for getting their recordings played online music webs? I think the question is, is from Kwango Sela. I think that sounds right. How do musicians collect for getting their recordings played online music website? Well, again, going back to kind of what we discussed earlier, it's crucial to have your music and your songs and all of your rights ready and registered at your PRO. That's the first thing that you need to be doing. So if you're a music publisher and artists are signed to you and they're delivering music to you, please make sure that you don't have to do it every day, every time a song is, but set aside Friday afternoons at 4:00. I'm going to just register everything in my PRO. Or even if you are a songwriter, just Fridays at 4:00. I'm just making that time up. I'm going to go register whatever I did this week at my PRO. I just think it's a good habit to get into. And what's interesting is we're all entrepreneurs. Songwriters and creators are entrepreneurial just by nature, right? We write songs. We have no idea if people are going to like them. Basically every day we're creating a brand new product and we have no idea if there's a market for it. That's what being a songwriter is. And what you basically end up having to figure out is, how do I get better at predicting these trends in certain ways? I know we're not really talking about publishing and royalties, but I do want to talk about ways to maybe help generate some publishing royalties. So, if you have a particular interest, just going backwards here, if you have a particular interest in writing music for film and television, right, there's a few great advantages to that. One is it can be quite lucrative. A. B. It usually pays well and usually pretty quickly. And the best part about making music for film and TV is that you can have a song licensed. You can have that same song licensed tomorrow for something else. So you can actually keep licensing your same song over and over and over and over again. I found that I probably 20% of my catalog gets licensed 90% of the time. So you start to also determine what works specifically for certain things. So a couple good ways to get better at that. Shazam TV commercials, Shazam television shows. If there's something that you like, go find that song, go find that song, listen to it, try and understand why did it work in that scene. Emotionally, what was the EQ? What was the emotional quotient? I actually wrote a blog about this. What was the emotional quotient that made the music, getting into the music supervisor's head? Why did they pick that song? Why is that the song they chose, right? Understanding that, doing that research, doing that homework. Stop skipping commercials. I know it's painful to watch, I don't know, Downy commercials or something, but understand why they chose that music. Understand why, creatively, how Target and Old Navy and Walmart and The Gap all have different sonic sonic representation of who they are, right? Try and understand those things. Try and understand where the differentiator is between Samsung and Apple, right? Understand why, I don't know, car commercials tend to lean in towards being more rock driven and guitar oriented, right? Understand and really break down and understand why songs are being used for certain usages. So as mentioned, Shazam, go to ispot.tv. That's a great website to listen to, see commercials and listen to music and understand where those songs are being, where and why they're being used. The third thing is check out IMDb Pro. It's an excellent website. You can get a sense of who the music supervisors are that are working on shows that you would like to aim your music to. And when you make that first step of that introduction of yourself, make sure that you make the good introduction. They're very precious relationships. Don't abuse those relationships. And one music supervisor that happens to love what you're doing can be a very significant partner for you in your career. I tell you a story. I won't try to divulge any of the gruesome details. In my case, excellent details. But just last year we ended it. But we had a 3-year run with a song that I wrote and produced for a Target commercial. And and extremely lucrative, very, very, very lucrative, like obscenely lucrative. But the point is that music supervisor had heard that song and held on to that song for 2 years before they were even able to use it. So they're doing their research, they're collecting music that they love, even though maybe right now is not the time. They might hold on to it for somewhere down the line and go, "Ooh, I love this. This is going to be great for this." And in this particular case, he had held on to the song for a couple of years. Sarah's on our team here; she knows what I'm talking about. That song was held on for a couple of years till eventually they used it. So you never know when you're making that impression. In fact, it lines up with our Pro Tip Tuesday. So if you guys aren't following us on We Are MDIIO on Instagram, you should. Our Pro Tip Tuesday was always pitch the right song. 99% of the time, if you're pitching something just to make an impression, you're going to make the wrong impression. Anyway, I think I got a little bit sidetracked with how do musicians collect for getting their recordings played online. But basically, the answer is register with your PRO and make sure that you're up to date. Mark asked a question. I feel like I've answered it, but Mark's question is, what is the best way to publish music? You are already your own publisher, even if you are assigned people. And Mark, are you asking that question as a songwriter or as a publisher? You can unmute yourself. I'm allowing you to unmute yourself, young man.
It was okay. Yeah, I as a songwriter, Justin.
Okay, cool. So as I sort of talked about, you are already your own publisher. You can use other tools. We talked about Songtrust. We talked about Centric, where you can basically upload your music. You could track that. You could put it in the system. You can make sure that they have all of the metadata. So if they're catching any performances, they're going to make sure to pay you directly. There is InGrooves does it as well. So, and I'm not sure if DistroKid does it yet, but there's a lot of distribution companies that are offering this service as well. Just to, if you felt like you wanted to kind of bundle it all in together so you can have, one login. I'm not particularly endorsing one over the other. Songtrust, I do like they're connected to Downtown that has a very good administration department. So, but yeah, that's definitely what I would do is, especially if you're going to release something, you got to make sure that those songs are well registered, documented correctly. And yeah, it's, and this is actually a big reason. I'm going to use it as a cheap side bar into MDIIO. So thank you for the unintentional segue, Mark. But that was kind of the intention of why, as a songwriter, I started MDIIO, which is, I'll be honest with you, I love writing the songs. I hate the admin. To me, we all agree, right? It's so fun to be in the studio or at home or writing and coming up with that magic. And then we're like, oh, so fun. Let's completely kill this buzz by now having to make sure all of the information is correct. Right? It's like,
Hey, Justin.
Yes, sir.
On that note, Mike, the reason I wrote that question, because a lot of my friends say, my sons, put your music on YouTube. Well, I'm always afraid somebody's going to rip it off. What do you think of that?
I have to tell you, I've never personally had that as an issue. I think that is. I want to say this in the most respectful manner possible. I think that for people that are not super experienced in understanding music publishing, that's like a lot bigger of an issue than I think it actually is in real life. Does that make sense? There's a much better shot of you as a songwriter, not you per se, but a songwriter being influenced by something that they're hearing and sort of unintentionally, like how many times have you written a song and be like, what is that melody? I know that from somewhere. Like there's a much bigger chance of it happening in reverse than it happening the other way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again, uploading your music onto MDIIO, we do digitally stamp that so we know when that song is uploaded. So in 5 years from now, if somebody goes, wait a minute, that sounds like a song that I've done, we can actually go back and say, well, this was uploaded on September 9th or whatever this is, September 7th, 2021. So, but that's a much bigger issue, I think, philosophically than actually in real life practice. Okay. So yeah, I wouldn't let that stress you out. But that doesn't mean that you should not be protecting your music. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be registering your stuff at your PROs. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be taking all of those steps as a professional songwriter even if you've not earned revenue, act like a professional, treat yourself like a professional, and follow those professional steps. I think that's very helpful. And I also think it's a great habit because I'm guilty of it, admitted, right? Where a song comes out and all of a sudden I'm calling my publisher, my song is coming out this week. We need to, we got to make sure it's registered. That's a much worse situation. There's a much bigger reality there of losing income that way than having somebody come in and rip you off.
Right.
But I hope that answered your question. I get really impassioned by this stuff, and so I want everybody to win.
I guess what I'm looking at is I see a lot of songwriters. They've been writing for years, but they don't know how to write a good hook. And some people are good at writing hooks, and I'm worried about them scooping a hook.
The Holy Grail. There's a lot of protections and provisions in place that sort of can bypass any of those concerns. Really simply, if you can prove that you wrote the song, you can claim it, right? You can make that claim. When you look at situations, for example, if you followed it all, like Olivia Rodrigo, she just gave up publishing back to Paramore for whatever that song was, whatever her current record is, for Misery Business. That's a little bit different. You're talking about a very, very high level of sort of influence.
Right.
But it's very rare for me to see a completely unknown or aspiring or growing or new, and I don't mean new songwriter, but not new songwriter to get their music ripped off. It's pretty rare. I'm not saying it's never happened before, but you would have to be going pretty deep into the depths of either SoundCloud or YouTube or whatever to find stuff that's not making an impression. Really, if someone's discovering you on YouTube and then their song comes out, you can be like, well, it was uploaded September 7th. You can see it. So obviously it was, I think I'm not sure that's a legal protection, but it's a pretty good argument for your case.
Right.
But that's a great question. That's a great question.
Thanks. That's great.
I also say if someone's ripping you off, Mark, you're doing something right. So keep doing it. We did talk about music publishing. We have a question here from Juliet Wong. Does MDIIO generate UPCs for selling tangible versions of music? We don't. We currently do not generate ISRC codes or ISWC codes. Those are, just so that you understand, are industry standard recording codes, industry standard writing codes. We don't generate those. We're planning to start doing that as well. I mean, obviously, at some point, we plan to consolidate every sort of part of your administration or transaction into one website just to make life easier for you. But those are all things that we are kind of working towards. What needs to be, that's a great question from MDIIO. And it is this. What needs to be done before releasing a first record? Well, we did kind of talk about it, but let me consolidate it into one basic statement. Make sure that A, your song is first uploaded to MDIIO. B, make sure that the song and the rights to those performances are registered to your performance rights organization. Again, going backwards, if you are not registered at a PRO, please do so. ASCAP, BMI in the US, SOCAN in Canada. As I mentioned, SOCAN, you don't have to be Canadian. SOCAN is an excellent PRO that we are partners with. In fact, you can even register with SOCAN directly through your MDIIO profile, totally for free. So it's actually a pretty easy way to make sure that your stuff is organized. Creatively speaking, make sure that you have awesome visuals, awesome art, great assets. Make sure that you are prepared to dig into social media. Make sure that you're prepared to really go in and work that, especially if you're an independent person, you don't have like a team per se. Make sure that you have to be prepared to really package all of your content, all of your assets, do research, understand when the best time it is to release said content, said assets. I'm personally not a marketing expert, but I've seen the way that, in fact, Sarah, that might be a great conversation with these guys next time. I've seen it, really understand your business. Again, you are a small business owner as a songwriter, especially as an artist releasing your own music. You are in fact a small business owner. So, right, think about, let's use an analogy like you're opening a restaurant on the street, right? I would think that we would all have the foresight to go, ooh, we're going to open up a restaurant in a month. Maybe we're going to go send flyers around the neighborhood talking about how great our pizza is, right? Maybe we're going to give coupons. Maybe we're going to have a big, gigantic open house for the weekend, and we're going to give everybody free pizza. I just really am hungry right now. I'm on a diet, you guys, and so everything is referring back to pizza. I can't help it, but right. And so the point is, you would pre-market how you're going to open up your pizza shop. It's the exact same thing if you're an independent artist. How are you pre-marketing that? And then make sure that when you do, you push that button and you're ready to you're ready to go, and you have a good strategy. Complete side note. There is it's so funny how oftentimes I'll talk to an independent artist or a songwriter that really wants to make it, and I say, well, what's your plan? And oftentimes I'll say, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Okay. Have you written that down? Well, no, I just know. Well, no, you don't just know. Build a business plan. Again, I'm going to go back to the pizza shop. If you are going to start a career as a songwriter or as an artist, build a business plan. Oftentimes when I'm looking at signing writers that I'm bringing into my publishing company or artists that I want to work with, I say, what is your 12 and what is your 24-month plan? Right? Well, I want to win a Grammy. Okay, great. We all want to win a Grammy. How are we going to get there? What is the plan? What is the strategy? Let's look at building that path and that blueprint, and let's stay on that path, right? So if you say, well, my goal is I want to get my song cut by Mark. Who would be a dream cut for you?
For me?
Yeah. Anybody.
Geez, now you got me. Usher.
Wow. Okay. So if my goal is I want to get a song recorded by Usher, singularly focus on that. You understand what I mean? It's like, I'm only going to write records that I only think he's going to like. I'm not going to get distracted by that. This is my main mission. That's the critical path that I'm going to stay on. And that's what I'm going to go. And that decision that you make is a contract that effectively you're signing with yourself to say, well, good or bad or whatever, this is my direction. This is what I'm going to do. I want to get an Usher cut. So now what does that mean? I want to collaborate with people. Okay, well, who am I going to collaborate? Well, and I'm not suggesting this, having not heard any of your music, right? Maybe I'm not a great, strong track person. Let me go find somebody that does this track, that lives in this genre musically, that I can collaborate with. Let me go find 10 people that do this that I can collaborate with, right? At the same time, are these songs good enough? Yes, they are. Okay, how am I going to get to Usher, right? Figure that out, right? Can I go through his publisher? Who's his publisher? Can I go reach out to them? The idea of you calling up Thomas Scherer at BMG and being like, hey, Thomas, I want to get you something for, that's not realistic, right? But who are the day-to-day people, right? And again, just philosophically speaking, the number one goal for the day-to-day, that junior, that A&R intern at a music publisher or at a record label is they want to find it. They want to be the person that walks in and goes, I have fire in my hands. Well, in my earphones, right? That's what they want to do. They want to discover that. Now, nobody knows who you are. So that means that your records have to be 10 times better than Benny Blanco, right? So, and again, you're building to this. And by collaborating, you're also building with other people that can help also sell, I don't mean literally sell, but promote the songs that you're writing, right? So even if you don't get that Usher cut, but you get a cut with some younger artist who's in that vein, guess what? You're adding credibility to who you are as a songwriter. You're still on the path. You're still on that critical path. I hope that you get an Usher cut. I'll be cheering you from the sidelines. And I'll be secretly pissed. I'll be like, oh, that Mark, you got an Usher. No, I won't. I'll be very happy for you, actually. Rose Green asks, who's on this call, would you be interested in giving a presentation on this subject in the future on virtual stage? Of course I would. So Rose, if you are a part of this, fast forward to approximately 47 minutes. Yes, I'm good for it. And then last question here. Sorry?
That's me.
Oh, you are Rose. Oh, yes. So Rose. Yes, is the answer. Huh?
Yes. No, I said that's me. You know, I have I'm a new music distributor
Love it.
today. Opened the doors today, so I'll check.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes.
I wish you nothing but success, and I hope that you make $100 million.
Yes, I'm looking forward.
Let's all speak into existence for Rose. So yeah, happy to work with you however you need. Okay, Rose, we're friends now.
And most definitely.
But you have to send me those sunglasses that are in your picture.
Okay.
Question is, do you have a sign up for something specific to receive streaming royalties, or does my distributor CD Baby do that anyway? Yeah, again, we did talk about this. This was a question that came in from Janie, actually. Janie's right there. We don't see Janie, but I'm assuming that you're still there. I hope. We haven't put you guys to sleep totally yet, right? Has this been mildly entertaining at least? Like,
Yes.
right? Okay, nobody's
Yeah.
falling asleep, right? Okay, good. Phew. Perfect. Hi, Janie. So the question that you asked was, do you have to sign up something specific to receive streaming royalties? The answer is yeah. As we kind of discussed, those streaming royalties are collected by your publisher. In which case, as I said, you are a publisher. So yes, as I mentioned, signing up with Song Trust, or I think CD Baby also does publishing collection, right? Yeah. Yes, I would definitely suggest it's worth whatever the percentage is, 10 to 15%. That they're going to go, and you would be surprised at seeing your publishing statement and being like, oh, I earned 17 cents in Croatia in the last 6 months. Amazing, right? Yeah, Rye's like, I've been there. Right? So I mean, you would be very, very surprised at where there's royalties out there for you. And they do a much better job than you'll do for yourself. So I don't know you. You might be extremely resourceful, but trust me, that's money well spent. I would highly suggest doing that. And then I have another question here from Daria. I definitely don't see Daria on this call, right? So I'm going to just answer. It's a very good question. Oh, Dagmara is Daria. Wow. Hey, you're a real human. Nice to meet you. Love your blurred background.
Thank you.
So Daria, so your question was licensing music for film and TV works. If you are a PRO, how licensing? Okay, if you're a PRO, do you need to give up your publishing rights? That's actually a very strangely complicated question, and I'm going to try and answer it to the best of my ability. So whether you're a PRO, first of all, yes, you should always be a PRO member if anything that you are doing is ever being released or available for public or not. You should always, always, always be registering your songs with your PRO. That's the first thing. Your second thing is, in some cases, if you have a song on a television show, yes, your PRO will be collecting performance revenue for you based on the performance of that song in that show. So sometimes, like, I remember back in the day, we used to do these $500 MTV licenses, but they would play these songs over and over and over and over again, and you get these like royalty checks that were like in the thousands of dollars, way, way beyond whatever the fees were, right? So actually MTV smartened up, and now their actual fees are significantly lower because they know that the royalties that they're paying are pretty good. I just let somebody in, Juliet. We have 4 more minutes, but we're happy to have you here anyway. So the next question is, do you need to give up your publishing rights? When licensing a song to film, television, advertising, video games, YouTube videos, right? Anywhere where you need to where you license a song, typically the answer is no. You should never give up your publishing royalties long term. However, there are some situations with like the show Empire or the show or a lot of Disney stuff where they do basically they publish you, so you enter into one-off co-publishing agreements with those partners. So in a sense, yes, you are giving away your publishing, but you are giving away your publishing A for an advance or usually a fee, and B, you still own your writer's share. You still co-publish your publishing share along with a partner. I hope that makes sense. But typically, if someone comes in and says, "Hey, Daria, I want to use I want to use your song Black T-shirt, because also we both have cool black T-shirts. I want to use your song Black T-shirt for my television show, and we are going to buy you out as a work for hire." That's not necessarily cool. I would try and push against that. But again, I will say this. Any opportunity to get your songs placed and used in film and television, I think is fantastic. I think it adds to the story. I think it validates who you are as a songwriter. I think it validates your passion and your belief in what you're doing. So anytime someone puts their hand up and says, "Daria, I want to use your song for this," I don't care if it's an Instagram influencer doing user-generated content. That's a great look for you. You should be doing that, and I think it's important, though, to maintain those rights. Again, I've had songs that we've licensed for, $100,000, and the same song I've licensed for $750. It all depends on the usage. But what's important is that you try and retain that ownership as much as possible, and especially if you're the artist and you're the publisher, you own all of that revenue. So yeah, you could do deals, with people, but I would very much suggest, again, I think this is a behavior of people that are maybe don't have as much experience or are new to this. You don't have to be so precious about what you're doing. You're going to keep writing songs. You're going to write more songs. They're going to get better. Every song you write is going to get better. You hope you're going in the right direction. If they are, knock on wood. I think the goal should be, how do I push this out? How do I professionalize? I'm not sure professionalize is a word. I'll look that up later. Please, no bad Yelp reviews. But how do I professionalize my career? And ways to do that are by generating revenue for the music that you're writing, whatever that means. I don't care if it's $50 or it's 5,000 or it's 50,000. All of that is a validator to what we do, right? Like, to all of our families, we're all weirdos. We don't have real jobs, right? We're songwriters. That's what we want to do. We have like real people that live in like the non-music matrix world cannot understand this, and that's okay. But they love telling people when, Daria just had a song in this show, so it's like, stick to it, self-evaluate, and just be fair with yourself. Look at, I guess the very long answer to a very short question is analyze the situation and make the best decision at the moment for this period in time. Now, if it means, hey, I'm gonna give up some of my publishing rights, but I know that this person down the line is gonna come and use my songs all the time, hey, maybe that's a good move, right? If you go, this is a kind of like a one-time thing, I'm gonna try and get the best deal I can, then maybe you don't do it, right? It's like, sort of evaluate each situation on a case-by-case basis. I would say this. You have my email address. I'm going to give it to you again, you guys. So there it is. If you feel like you have a question, that there's something that's come in, we're all friends now. I'm happy to, Mark has communicated with me separately and outside of this. I think I've been responsive, I hope.
Oh yeah,
okay, good.
Very much so.
Phew. Okay, good. So you can reach out to me. You can reach out to anybody in our team through intercom, through your profile. Ask questions, get smarter, educate yourselves. That's a big part of what we're trying to do. If you've not participated in some of our MDIIO events, you should 100% be there. We just had a great one that we talked about, literally this topic: how to get more licenses in film and TV. We're always doing really cool stuff. We have a thing called Feedback Friday, which basically you submit songs through our platform and we review those songs on Facebook Live. So even if your song doesn't get chosen, it's a great way to learn and understand why a song works, why it doesn't. And those are always with live A&R, professional A&R people that come in and listen to it, or music supervisors. We have MDIIO X, which is a great songwriting collaboration event where you sign up and we put you in songwriting groups and you write with other writers from all over the world. You're mentored by professional songwriters who come in and give you feedback and help you write hopefully better songs. And it's an incredibly interactive and really amazing experience. So if you're not part of MDIIO, sign up for free, participate in all of this stuff, build your network. I see here, Layla said something here. The Immersive Sound and Visual Art Collective that I direct, partial facsimile, have installed and played live in 5.1 surround sound synchronized to film since 2013. Very cool. However, when we have released audio online, it has always been in stereo or 2-channel binaural. We are now ready to go ahead with our 3D masters. Very cool. Does the publishing rights get recorded the same way for 3D object-based audio? Thanks for your talk this evening. Currently based in Norway. I love Norway. I've been there a few times for work, and I've been to Finland, and I've been to Sweden. In fact, I've been to all the Scandinavian countries, and it's lovely there. Well, hello, Layla. It must be late for you. So thank you for spending time with us. So the answer is no. The only thing that I would say is you may have to go back and renew those rights, not knowing what those initial licensing agreements were. You may have to go back and renew those rights for a new release. That might be your challenge. If you're just literally doing the exact same thing again, but just changing the audio format, no. But if you are going to expand the scope of those licenses, yeah, you'll probably have to go and update those licenses. So for example, we went through this on our MDIIO event last week. Typically, when you grant rights to a song or songs being used, you're very specific on what those rights entail. They can't go outside of those rights. In other words, you couldn't go outside of the rights that you've already licensed. However, I don't know what your agreement looks like. You might have been able to license those rights in perpetuity, all media, any format, in which case, no, you don't have to do anything. You might have only had them specifically for live performance in one way. So again, you might have to go back and revisit that. If you felt like you want to have a conversation on the side, I'm happy to have that conversation with you to look at what that agreement looks like and to see really what your rights are. I'm also happy to put you in touch with music attorney who could probably help you navigate that if you need to. It's hard. It's a hard question to answer. I hope that non-answer kind of at least gives you some clarity on kind of the direction that you need to go in. Oh, guys, have you tried that new Coke Zero? So good. So good. I'm not endorsed by Coke Zero, but I would be if they wanted to. So anybody from Coke Zero out there, let me know. I'm happy to do it. Guys, our time is up, unfortunately. So sad to see you go. I think that we're going to be putting this back up on. Thank you, Layla. I look forward to your email. In fact, I look forward to all of your emails. Any other sort of like last questions before we kind of part ways? Is Taxi or Reverb Nation, I think is your question. Is Taxi? Yes. They are legitimate. I think that there are Reverb Nation is a little bit different, Taxi is not my preference for people to use. I don't want to disparage it. I think that there's been some opportunity that's been available there for people, we definitely what we're doing at MDIIO is a new business model. It's our goal to keep it free as long as possible, hopefully forever, and try and find ways to generate revenue for you guys. That's really the goal. And I'm not sure Taxi does that. Again, not trying to disparage the business model. It has nothing to do with me. But I will say this, I wanted to, we're talking a lot about things like placement in film and TV. It is competitive. It's a very competitive environment. I want to be, I want to be completely honest about that. It's competitive. It's planting a ton of seeds, and it's being patient, and it's finding the right opportunities, and slowly but surely building every brick in the road of your career. I think that it's unwise to think that it's going to happen quickly. I mean, I hope it does. I pray for you guys that it does. I've been doing this for a long time, and I found that the best thing that you could do is write a lot, is collaborate a lot, is pitch music. We have, I think we have new projects going up on MDIIO Daily. I don't know if you guys are signed up, but if you're not, you're going to get these notifications for pitches. I say this a lot. If you have the right song, pitch that song. It doesn't mean that you're going to get chosen. It doesn't even mean that you're going to get shortlisted. But what it does mean is you never know when someone's listening to that song going, ooh, this isn't right for this, but this might be right down the line. And I know the way music supervisors work. They have a little folder of all their favorites. They go, ooh, this is going to be something good down the line. I don't know what it is now, but I know one day it's going to be worth something. It's going to be great. You just never know when they're saving it. You never know when it's going to come back. So I would say if you have the right songs, always submit them, always pitch them. And you should be constantly creating. So that is sort of like, that's my TED Talk. And I mean, any other sort of like quick questions? If you guys have any other questions, I mean, I'm here. I'm ready to chat. My phone has been blowing up, but that's okay. They can wait. I don't like them anyway.
I have one.
Yes, sir.
Do you find like a new songwriter would get lowballed as opposed to somebody who's got a bit of a track record, even though the song's really good?
In what context, Mark?
Let's say you submit something to McDonald's
I hope
for
that
a
happens.
real catchy jingle, but
Yep.
you're unknown.
Yep.
You find that guy might get lowballed as opposed to someone like yourself who's been doing this. You've got a great name, a great track record, that kind of thing.
My experience is that the right song gets you, like, taking all ego aside, nobody cares about me, nobody cares about you. Did you write the right song for the right opportunity? If the answer is yes, that's what they're going to deal with. Is that going to affect the fee? Maybe. But you have to look at it from a different perspective, right?
Right.
If I was going to reshift your focus of the perspective, it would be, this is an incredible opportunity, and this is something that I would very much love to make a part of my story. And Mark, is it Gemis or Gemis or Gemis or
Jemus.
Gemis? Okay. Mark Gemis has written music that's been used by McDonald's, right? You're starting to build your story. You're starting to create that. And by the way, I don't know if this is where you're going with this, but where I started my career, and where I've noticed I've had a lot of success is, I didn't mean to say success in a sort of like an arrogant, conceited way.
No.
But where I've been able to find and create opportunity with the songs I'm working is, again, it's by doing a absolute ton of research. Like, if you looked at my Shazam is all stuff that you have no idea, that you've never heard of. And so when I go and find something, I Shazam it, I rewind it, I listen to it, I Shazam it. I want to make sure that, ooh, why did that work? And then you take that and you apply it to your own writing and the songs that you're creating accordingly. Because what you want to do is you want to be ready to go when that opportunity presents itself, right? So you want to make sure that, like, what you, again, I don't know. I know that, Mark, I know that you're signed up to MDIIO. I don't know if any of you, if the rest of the group is, but sometimes you'll see there's like a note, a project goes up and it's like, it's done. The submission is done in 3 hours, right? Like, they go up. That's literally how it works. A music supervisor goes, ooh, we need to find a replacement for the brand new Lizzo Cardi B song, and we need to get this in by 5 o'clock today because we're making presentations to the ad agency tomorrow afternoon, and we need to be able to go through them. Right. That's why, and it's crazy. Music is the last thought, and it's the one that's always like, hurry up, go, 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 go. So I get messages from people all the time being like, oh, this project closes in 30 minutes. Can I have 45 minutes? I'm like, honestly, I wish we could extend it. It's not. We're not creating those deadlines, right? But this is that business. Hurry up and wait. We need your songs ASAP, and we'll let you know if we're going to use them. And unfortunately, we don't get that feedback. We don't get that. They're getting 500 songs for a spot, so they're not going to be like, oh, Mark, thank you for your submission. If the song was only a little bit faster, and like, we don't get that benefit, unfortunately.
Right.
We all play that game. It doesn't matter if you're the most successful at film and TV songwriter, or if you're the brand new at this. Nobody gets that feedback. I mean, there's times, literally, we're in the middle of one right now where the VP of film and TV for one of my companies is like, I'm just refreshing YouTube every 10 minutes to see if it's happening. Like, it's happening. We're just like, we don't even know oftentimes until it's actually on TV. It's crazy, but here we are. We're at their whim. So, anything else? Some people are threatening to get in touch with me. We'll see. I don't know. I hope that you do. Anyway, I want to thank you guys so much. I think the fact that you're here is a real statement to how serious you are taking this. I think that this is, I say this all the time. You put the most sensitive creative people in the most viciously critical business. It just is, it seems like such a bad mix, but yet here we are, right? So don't take it personally if you're not moving as quick. Don't take it personally if you're just not seeing that movement. It's okay. Be patient. If you really want to do this, be committed. And I don't think any of us started writing songs for the fame and fortune. I think we started writing songs because it was something that is just innate inside of us, and we have to do it, right? And again, it's like, if you can monetize $1 from your skill, as my people say, mazel tov, go for it, right? But I want to see success. And if I can help, we're friends. By all means, I would just really suggest get into MDIIO, get your music uploaded, submit music to projects when they happen. I'm grateful and I'm hopeful I'm grateful you're here. I'm hopeful that it happens. And I'll tell you, we've identified a couple of writers through MDIIO that we've actually signed, that I've signed to publishing deals. So there's a ton of opportunity. There's tons of great talent. It's a great way for you to meet other writers to collaborate with. Jump into MDIIO, jump into MDIIO, participate in those events, get involved. I think that you're going to look back at the next 12 months from now in retrospect and go, wow, I'm so glad I did that. So we hope you're here. We want you to be a part of it. I expect to see you all on our next events. Keep writing. Don't stop.
Great job.
Thanks, you
Sounds
guys.
great.
Thanks, you guys. Have an awesome day. Take care, everyone.
Okay. Take care.
Bye. Thank you, Rye. Have a great day. It was a real pleasure seeing you up there. I don't know if you can still hear me. It was a real pleasure seeing you up there. You looked like you really were taking advantage of it. So thank you so much. You're muted, but I can't.
Dude, yeah, thank you. I was totally into that. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Love it. Love it. Well, I'm grateful that you're here.
And I guess I'll see you on MDIIO soon.
I'm recording this, so you better.
Okay. All right.
Bye. Have a nice day.